The crew of the Gargandua were cheering and hollering like never before. Certain death had been avoided, to the extent a mortal can ever claim such a thing, and the heroes of the final battle against the machines were strutting about the lower decks for all to see, and in the case of the Luds, there was plenty on display. Yet the usual complaints were stowed for these heroes. Despite the fact that the red alert lights were flashing and the Stand 2 signal was being relayed over and over, the crew were in good spirits. Bands of freshly evacuated contrarii would strike fear into the clueless cadets soon enough. With modesty shielded only by the AI cores they carried, the Luds followed the commissioned officers Ra, Thor and Wens on a parade towards the bridge. Once provisions were made to avoid violating the no nudity rules, the three human leaders came in for a debriefing, in the strictest and most professional sense of the word. "We were like transported across hyperspace in this tunnel or something," Ra explained lucidly.
"A reality bowl,"
Wens nodded. "Absolutely fascinating," Ryman said with genuine passion, ignoring the massive amount of warnings flashing across his visor. "The amount of new physics we've discovered in the last hour/340 cycles, it's a breakthrough that... I was about to say it might upend our plans, but I'd say it already has."
"I can't believe you made it," Allison said. "It's so amazing. Ra, you did something really special. I've got Dad on the screen, look."
"Very healthy frame on the lot of you," Daddy Olympus commented from Allison's console. "So, we saved the universe, right?" Ra grinned. Ryman stepped over and placed a hand on both of Ra's shoulders. "To be perfectly honest, we've had word from Sebastian, and the universe is about to die. But I'm really glad you made it. Glad we all gave it a good try. And I'll be even more honest, that's not even the real problem right now. That would be what I've tasked Lieutenant Titanian with explaining. The mystery of why, according to our demidars, there is a remnant fleet right in front of us, and debris all around us." "Time echo, ain't it?" Titanian offered. "Time echo, you hear that?" Ryman said. Contreras immediately recognized the precise kind of smile Ryman gave when his furiously polite manner was congealing into insanity.
"We'll need more information, Lieutenant," she said.
"No, it's quite easy to understand, really," Daddy Olympus said. Ra and Allison made sure everyone noticed they were nodding. "This isn't debris around us, really. It's quite the opposite. Look closely. All the components flying around this dark little space we're in are in perfect condition. It's not the result of something being destroyed. It's the result of something not yet being made. Check the scans from the enemy side, and that much is as obvious as Lud's old truth." "I did see something from the Hegemon coming in about that," Ryman said, scrolling through the near-infinite list of unread messages on his heads-up display. "Yes, he said those ships they match some old designations from the AI wars. They're old remnants. Less remnants and more the original whole. Time echo, you said, Titanian. We got sent forward in time, out there, but in real space, we got sent back in time. So our ships, mainly, didn't exist that far back, did they? But the remnants have been remodeling and reusing the same craft for hundreds of cycles. We're really far back in time now." I actually can't. I might as well go to bed, mightn't I?" Mars moaned nearby. "Just wait until you see what's downstairs," Ra said. "I passed Contreras like 15 times on the way up. Was that you from the Time Echoes or something too?"
"Tangentially related. If you can still see them, that's a good thing, I assure you," Contreras said.
Right. Are there clones of all the rest of us too around here?"
"I don't want to talk about it."
After a few seconds passed without Contreras buckling, all decided they might as well see to the latest mortal peril to befall them that afternoon. "Pope, we're getting more flux shields online. All this debris will only hold up so much of their fire," Hegemon Dord was explaining to a last-second war council. "But the good news is that we have the enemy's blueprints, their domain ships, of the advanced kind. The kind Tritachyon built, and the kind that once upon a time wiped out civilization." "Allegedly," Madame Sun was quick to throw in. "Oh, but don't let that scare you," King Cantor's voice said. "I think our good Admiral will know as well as I that these old AIs have one key weakness: no shields. Very easy to disable and disassemble. Isn't that right, Mr. Hannon? You've studied your history, haven't you?" "Get your hands off me," Demarcon Hannon said. To clarify, Hannon and much of the Persian Fleet Command had been transferred into Cantor's Superfreighter HQ after their leading battlecruiser got a rather large hole put through it back in hyperspace. They were having a lovely time getting to know each other, but we've no time for that slice of life right now. Yes, despite our situation, we can coordinate against them, Hannon went on. The strength of the old AI death fleets was in numbers and ruthlessness. Well, they've no factories here, nor civilians to kill off. It's a fair fight. If we can reverse out of this wreckage and get our spacing, I'll feel a lot better about it. Roger that, Ryman said. We'll take a pounding when we get out of this debris field, so make sure you're ready. Give me your mark and I'll coordinate the orders. Admiral Olympus shall take the lead in command. We'll relay Demidar data to the whole fleet and keep your targeting computers up to date. I've got an Alpha AI core here to do the mathematics. Yes, criminal of me, whatever, execute me later for it. Just wait until you hear how much illegal stuff we did to pull off that time explosion. It's not illegal until the judge's hammer falls, Sun quipped. That's the spirit, Admiral Olympus cheered. Now if you all wouldn't mind following some basic protocol, we need this command channel open. Let's get this formation in order. Gradually, the Omni ship the humans had formed in hyperspace was dispersing back into battle formation. This would have been an absolutely deadly maneuver while under fire, as ships could not activate their flux shields while within the flux shield of another. Try it for yourself if you want to see a large explosion. But in this case, the fleet was surrounded by the time echo of its own raw materials, providing further armor on top of all the wreckage and empty ships that were happily being sacrificed to buy time. But what of the remnants? What were they like hundreds of cycles ago? Fortunately, they weren't anywhere near as dangerous as they had recently become. Their time echo, while still being a fully operational battle fleet, was made up of very early Tritachyon designs from the Domain era. Ships whose AIs were deliberately hamstrung, and hardware-wise were considered cheap disposable weapons, lacking any flux shielding or survival instinct. Sniff at them all we want, their high-velocity Gatling cannons and overcharged torpedoes still did the job they were designed to do. Once at the centre of the mass, the Gargantua was becoming very exposed now, and its engines were completely offline. They had been relying on the Star Witch for propulsion, and the Star Witch was left behind with no fuel, so well, we'll have to get back to that once there's a moment to check on hyperspace again. Were you to witness this battle, you wouldn't have seen very much, thanks to the all-encompassing space-time blister this was all happening inside. It all took place in darkness, lit here and there by the fires of ordnance and bursting fuel tanks. Yet the darkness was no form of defense, as Demidar lock-ons were unaffected by electromagnetic phenomena of any kind. The flashes of battle might have revealed to you that the remnant ships were mostly smaller than the human ones, and slow to turn on account of being thickly armoured, generally painted in either the steely blue of Tritachyon or the royal green of the human domain. The human fleet suffered from having lost a large amount of its smaller craft, both to deliberate abandonment and to having them been deleted from the current timeline. At least in the latter case, the remaining captains didn't know what they were missing. Still, they might have suspected that the fact most large ships didn't have any defense against torpedoes or massed physical projectiles could have been because this service was once offered by the smaller frigates and destroyers, usually clouding the cruisers and battleships. In the absence of point defense cannons, the remnants could release payloads at close range and low velocities, limiting the visibility of this ordnance on Demidars. Worse, most Hegemony and Persian League battleships were tuned for combat in massive formations, meaning in practice that their flux shields mainly faced forwards and were slow to rotate, even slower than the chunks of remnant metal drifting past them to threaten the fleet's rear. In short, even those old models were giving as good as they got. A single torpedo strike could bring a remnant gunboat down, yet in the right circumstances, the same could be true of a broad-armed Hegemony Onslaught-class battlecruiser 10 times their size. The attempted remedy to this was to launch the vast stores of single-pilot fighters from the carrier ships. These could, in principle, shoot down hard-to-target threats, and bring local Demidars to search sensitive approach angles. It was only that what small part of the available crews had been trained to do this had been trained to do it under starlight and with instrumentation that wasn't experiencing a terminal case of Millennium Bug. But there were a few pilots up to the task. "Admiral Dord, I am transferring my elite crewwomen to your carriers," Contreras announced. "Please screen my shuttles to the best of your ability." "Your pilots are better than mine, are they?" Dord growled. "Yes. There is no time to deliver this assessment in a therapeutic manner. Give anyone from my crew full access." I don't have to do that.
But you will, Admiral.
Is Pope Ryman there?
He's sitting in my lap.
Hello, Hegemon, Ryman added, from her lap. What's going on there? Just getting by Lardetau, let everything else, Ryman babbled. Can you just do what Zuzu says? Who? Sorry, Witch Captain Contreras, IEC Minister of Acquisitions, and Chief Robot Human Marriage Officer. You're making up titles for yourself now? Hey, you're the one who called me Pope a second ago. Take up pilots, Hegemon, they want to fight. They're old combat AI we captured over the cycles. Same kind of thing we're fighting. You've got to be joking right now. Joking's beyond impossible. Trust me, when you see them you'll agree. The notion that we agreed to fight under your command and go through whatever all this is with you is liable to become the biggest joke of all time. And the last one too. Funny that, huh? Hold your ego for 10 minutes and we can win this thing. An AI told me. If Dord had seen Ryman's hyper-exhausted grinning, he might have thought twice about obeying this order, let alone the way Ryman was lounging on Contreras like a cat in a state of near-mental shutdown. Yet sure enough, 2 Eagle-class cruisers swept in to escort a large number of tiny crew shuttles over towards the nearest Legion-class battlecruiser. Huge frontline logistical bases dressed up as a ship because they technically had engines. One cruiser veered off in flames by the end of it, its escape pods chasing the newly landed shuttles deeper into the battle carrier's cavernous hangars. Within a minute, the reserve fighters were blasting over the survivors' heads, zooming out and disappearing into the oily black battlefield. Contreras reporting in. Contreras reporting in. Contreras reporting in. And so on. This flight of the Contrarii brought out the finest hotshots of the human fleet, the non-human ones. The pitch dark was crossed by the fading white-hot Contrarian contrails as the fighter wings hunted down enemy ordnance like bats in a silent forest. The remnants had no fighters of their own, and the old flak cannons the aged craft used to combat small foes couldn't traverse quickly enough to swat away pilots who could calculate the final point of detonation from a single pixel of muzzle flash. Here we are then, doing the most illegal thing you can do in plain view of the authorities, Ryman mused as he marvelled at the revitalizing combat data. I suppose even in victory we're trapped in purgatory. What's a punishment to us now? Mars counter-mused. I've been in purgatory ever since you joined our crew, Mr. Nessus. Very good, very good. Are you feeling a little better now then, Captain? Yes, I think we're going to make it. And questions about where we're going to make it to, notwithstanding, that's cause for at least a minor burst of good old-fashioned peace and hope. There's something strange though, Noah, Allison said. She was pointing at her screen, which was effectively covered in noise. What is that? Ryman asked. It's the beta neutrino fields. Oh. The signal is saturated. Tell me it's the birds in the detector dish, Ryman said, his moment of clarity slipping through his fingers with a visible twist of his smile from relief to relapse. I know what it is, Contreras said, throwing Ryman off herself and standing from the captain's chair. She picked up Nafi and pressed her face against the AI's blue casing. You can feel it too, can't you?
Omega, he,
Nafi chirped. The remnants are trying to reactivate Omega again. Surely they don't have enough antimatter for that. Bring up the specs on those ships.
The Omega activation is too energy intensive. It's beyond the tolerance limit for antimatter burning. The universe will be destroyed in the attempt. But what other option is there? The humans will destroy the universe if we don't do something.
Nafi slowly reasoned. All ships, the silly billies are doing something. Weapons free, hit them with everything immediately, whatever it takes. Shields down if you have to. Titanian broadcast. What do you mean they're doing something? King Cantor's voice shot back. They're doing this thing where they send beta neutrino signals out so that the Great Ones will reflect the signal to all other machines across the universe, instructing them to activate their hyperspatial network so they can reform their hive mind. What? They're going to destroy the universe. Just kill the enemy. These oafs are talking sense, I assure you. Hegemon Dord cut in. We'll come by if anyone needs to drop their shields to accelerate their fire rate. Happy to help, always, Madame Sun added. It should be noted that her portion of the human fleet, the Tritachyon battleships, were practically impervious to the old Domain-era ships, mainly because they owned the intellectual property to the very designs they were fighting against, and had flux shield generators tuned to combat precisely those designs. While of course they stopped short of giving such secrets to the rest of the fleet for free, they did at least pull through on providing covering duties to the larger Persian and Hegemony battleships. For them, lowering their shields allowed all sorts of weaponry to be employed beyond the usual heat limits, and the engines to be blasting all the while. Sure enough, the next few minutes of battle saw greatly accelerated progress, and greatly accelerated damage and losses taken in return. "Is anything happening?" Ryman asked Contreras and Nafi.
Nothing.
Nafi moaned.
They aren't activating Omega. It's failing,
Contreras said, with a similar hint of sadness.
It must be impossible, being time echoes, and with the remnants of our time being trapped above. They can't use any antimatter now. We're safe.
The signal is still off the scale, though, Allison added. And hang on, switching back to Demidar. By Lud and all his little ones, the hyperholes, I mean. Wait, hang on, that's not. What's going on out there?
Hey Pope, take a look out the window,
Admiral Olympus's voice interjected. Ryman looked left, Ryman looked right. Nope, his bridge still didn't have any windows. He could hear a cheer from downstairs. He got a camera feed open so that he, like any good Supreme Commander, could be the last to know what was going on. What he saw was a field of debris, illuminated under the glorious blue-tinted glow of Zeta Nova Cydonia. The space-time blister was gone. They were reconnected to real space.
Look, on the logs. It dissolved away, just now,
Allison reported.
The beta neutrino signal must have done something?
Thank you, Chief Science Officer, Ryman said with a pat on her shoulder. That solves the problem I hadn't dared to start thinking about yet. Now get us Galatia and answers. What are all those signals on the Demidar? You could see for yourself, Captain, Titanian added. On the screen, large purple rings and disks were drifting around nearby space, and if you didn't know, that was what a hyperhole looked like in the visible light spectrum. First not enough, now too many. Did the beta neutrinos do that too? Ryman asked.
My hypothesis is that it's the work of the Great Ones,
Allison said sweetly. And for some Lud-forsaken reason, that hypothesis has never been wrong before. Hey Sebi, can you hear me? Sebi?
What did you do?
Sebastian's voice interrogated. Win the final battle, that's what, or thereabouts. We're almost there, but what's going on? We're seeing hyperholes out here. Hello again, by the way.
Hello, here's the picture. Hyperspace just started experiencing the biggest storm we've ever seen, and we're right in the middle of it. It's converging on us. Something is seriously disturbing it all.
The Great Ones, Allison shot in, overbearingly loudly.
Yes, but wait for the process on that one, Mrs. Olympus. It's all
Yuck! It's actually Miss Olympus?
It's all converging here, and hyperspace travel is out of the question. Or at least you'd need serious engines to go anywhere other than here. And those hyperholes aren't all they appear. We're detecting new holes opening on the hyperspace side, then closing again, one after the other. But in real space it looks like there are far more. They aren't all hyperholes as we understand them.
Yes, they are. We understand them perfectly, don't we? Ryman cut in. I've got an idea. Nafi, get the resonator on.
Ooh, that sounds like fun. Maybe the Great Ones have news for us,
Nafi said. Remember the N-Space resonator? It was currently part of the transverse jumping assembly, but on its own could be used to see a little of what was happening in the spaces between the spaces. What was happening was something the Galatia science team had seen before. It's eating up the debris, Ryman said, too happily for the implication of this. Those aren't hyperholes. They're mouths. It's the Great Ones consuming real space matter, like it did with us back when we ran the original resonator tests. There you go, it wasn't all wasted budget after all. Now we know exactly what's happening. The universe is collapsing, hyperspace is unusable, so we're stuck here, and the Great Ones have gotten so close they can draw in our matter directly. Ah, what a day. One of those things where it's like, at least it can't get any worse, an idling Ra remarked from the back. Surprisingly, it was actually several more seconds before the Demidar alert tone sounded. Remnant Ordos coming through the hyperhole, and one over that way too, Titanian said. Indeed, a new battle fleet was quickly forming, only a few minutes' flight away. Remnant Ordos were the standard battle formation of the Outer Sector's AI overlords, packed with the rare battle-ready AI motherships and escorting capital ships. The upside was that only a fraction of their number remained after the recent muster and refitting campaign that had produced the doomed Tesseract fleet. But as ever, 50 bullets coming towards you isn't that much better than a million when one is too many. Sebi, your flush is bringing every remnant in the universe down right on top of us, Ryman shouted.
It's not my flush, and it's only our sector's local hyperspace,
Sebi replied. You're the bearer of bad news, and that's not very peace and hope of you, Sebi.
Fine, you're beyond diagnosis. What now?
Now? Well, I was thinking we were about finished and we'd all survive at least a few more days. But now they're bloody... Titanian, can you do anything? We could form up properly. Work's done on the first course. These orders, though. Lots of ships. Not the newest, but not the oldest either. We used to win against them. Didn't start off half destroyed and with no ammo left, though. And that's about our situation summed up. Pope, Ryman, why are there still hostiles on your IFF channel? What are those new arrivals? Demark and Hannon could be heard shouting in the background. Be quiet, Hegemon Dord told him. This is the nature of our enemy. They are many. There is little purpose in anything but a fight to the death, would you not agree? No, I would not. Too bad, because we're not outrunning them, Cantor said. So unless our saviour the Pope has any more magic to pull, I think we'll have to settle for sacrifice. It's a matter of duty. It is a matter of always doing what is needed, Dord said somberly. No one else can do it. Fire your escape pods at the Holy See. You can last underground if they do not destroy the planet. It will take them a long time to get in, longer than the universe has left, if rumors are to be believed, making this the best possible deal you can get in this ruined sector, delivered to you by the Hegemony Authority, as always. May the domain be restored one day elsewhere. This universe or not, there is always a way if we do what is needed of us. As he was speaking, the remaining Hegemony ships pulled out of the reforming fleet and went ahead towards the nearest Ordo.
Stop, stop, stop!
Nafi was saying. He's not going to listen to you, and it's not a bad idea anyway, Ryman said.
No, that's what the Great Ones are saying. They want us to stop.
Right. Can you tell them to stop instead?
It's too loud outside.
Well, that's their fault too. And I gotta be honest, little one, I don't believe you can talk to the Great Ones at all. That's not fair. We all can, Allison said. Can't we? She added, after no one else backed her up. I'm not above praying to the Great Ones. I just think what we hear back is noise that our senses sort out to mean whatever they want. A hallucination.
Only in the sense that all fleshy sensation is hallucination, hee,
Nafi said. I'm waiting to wake up, as ever. Titanian, make the High Hegemon's orders official, will you? We'll eject as hard as we can on the right trajectory and try to land... Captain! Allison interrupted once more. I love you too, Alipu, Ryman said flippantly.
No, yes. That's very nice of you. It's very complicated, my feelings, but look!
The doom-spewing hyperholes had begun to spew something new. Peace and hope? It might just be. It was a fleet of ships that was coming up on the Demidar as being both Hegemony and Tritachyon in designation. Their designs were not from recent memory, and their flux shields were purple and wobbly, first generation. The sort of things not used in civilized space for hundreds of cycles. But these ships weren't from civilized space.
I say, this wouldn't happen to be the site of this final battle we've been promised.
A cheerful voice came a-knocking. Mr. Nessus, is that who I think it is? Ryman asked. I dare say it is, Mars said. Yeah? Who is it then? Ra asked.
I have no idea.
Ryman and Mars said together, much to Ryman's chagrin. Titanian, tell Dord to call off his heroic sacrifice plan. One of my trademark stupid long shots has just come through, Ryman said. Aye aye. Shoot long enough, and you end up aiming back where you started, don't you? Titanian proverbed. A while back I asked Mr. Nessus to smuggle a message to all those lost peoples in remnant space, Ryman explained to the fleet. These are people who have lived in captivity, kept to their planets, subject to the occasional machine experiment, yet otherwise doing hardly any worse than us. Don't let the fact you've probably never heard of them fool you into thinking they have nothing. We've visited some of them before. The Holy See used to be crawling with them, or swimming with them to be precise. During the delivery of this handy primer, Dord reversed his course, and the fleet reformed. The remnants were now facing humans to their front and rear. They blasted their engines and made for Ryman's fleet with less dramatic delay than they had originally planned. In the meantime, Ryman was able to connect the fleet's commanders to the voice of the new arrivals.
Yes, they call me old chap around here. Maybe the oldest chap there is,
the outsider said.
They've let me lead our ragtag group, since your little messages from beyond the veil rather stirred something up in us. And who could escape notice that our captors and overseers happened to go off on their way all of a sudden? Some of us thought it might be well past time we escape and checked in with the so-called free peoples. And since time seems to be something of a passing trend, Everything seemed to converge very nicely, which I say quite deliberately, as for some reason there was a huge hyperspace slipstream that brought us here. Well, that was no more than a few seconds of travel. Stuff of legends, and there it all is upon the first step out of the front door. I'm certain you've buggered this universe up royally, and yet now I'm a little disheartened to see the captors we were thinking we've slipped away from are actually in the same boat, if you understand the expression.
Do you know about the Great Ones? Ryman asked tentatively.
No, haven't heard the term.
Then there is literally no explaining it, and as you correctly noted, there is no time. We've a battle. We're in a bad way over here, and their torpedoes will start hitting in 2 minutes by the looks of it. If these are your captors, perhaps you'd like to help us kill them.
Kill them? I rather thought we'd turn the tables and capture them. You see, these remnants, as you call them, aren't always so bad. We always imagined we'd overflow their circuits a little and then take them intact for future use. That's what our techies have been preparing in our little underground layers, you know.
Then, as the old saying goes, make it so. Please, whatever reward you don't win for yourself, we'll provide. End of the universe imminent, terms and conditions apply.
We always thought you core folk were mad beggars, and there you have it. Needing rescuing after all. Oh, we won't let you off the hook for this one, my old bean. So many wagers settled in the blink of an eye. There's beauty in humanity, I say. What larks?
You don't have to be mad to work here, but we are anyway, Mars quipped.
So that's what you were doing, Mars? Your little secret plan?
Allison asked. Yes, got a message about the whole slight problem and such to as many places as I could. No sense going under the radar now, eh? All the best universe saving happens in secret, huh guys? Ra said to Thor and Wens, who were, it seems, lying spread eagle on the floor, asleep. They deserved it. And moreover, another mastermind of a secret plan was about to take their place. That's a lot of ships. Will be hard to coordinate, Titanian was saying once something of a battle plan was drawn up. We'll clear the torpedo waves one by one. 3 minutes, 30% flux capacity committed, and all the PD ammo. Then it'll be something interesting, especially with reinforcements coming in from the other side. Can't tell how the silly billies will react.
I can do this. Don't you worry yourselves.
A voice sounding a lot like Contreras, but also a lot like Enrico, said. Strutting into the bridge was what appeared to be yet another Contreras to add to the roster, but this one had a green cylinder strapped to her back and a large number of makeshift wiring jobs going from said cylinder to the robot avatar's open neck plate.
I must say, I was rather used to having a body, but this one is rather uncomfortable,
Enrique Contreras said. Contreras went wide-eyed, genuinely hurt. Ryman, whose sanity was not exactly tip-top, was not able to say anything to either Contreras, and deferred all that happened next to both. You might recall that Enrico's official job in the IUC fleet had been battle analysis during his previous posting on the Lion. He made short work of assessing the field and doling out plans to the hundreds of new captains in play. These captains were slow off the mark, and the fighting was already started by the time they arranged anything resembling an advance. The human fleet had already been reduced to its largest, sturdiest vessels, which had little hope of avoiding the long-range strikes of equally large remnant motherships. Huge explosions rocked even the mightiest flux shields, and the return fire was being shot out of space mid-journey by precise laser defense systems. All the while, the remnant line drew closer, bringing plasma, directed energy beams, and finally kinetic charges to bear. Human battleships of the modern era were designed to take exactly this kind of beating, but not forever. The already scarred battleships were being pummeled. The exception here was the nimble Tritakian contingent, whose ability to phase shift allowed them to half-metaphorically dip their hulls into hyperspace to make any damage they took less real. But nor could they shoot back, so the remnants could happily ignore them and be no worse off. As far as real space was concerned, the outer reaches of the fleet were mangled, and soon Enrico ordered Dorge's flagship to be abandoned and remotely piloted into one of the motherships to block its weapons. Such were the options remaining when fuel, ammo and flux capacity were expended. All across the battle space, escape pods and shuttles were freely streaming back from the front line to be picked up. Facilitating this was the rear line of pirate/legitimate mercenary freighters, big square cruisers that so happened to have life support features in their massive holds for slavery/legitimate transportation purposes. But there's only so much abandoning of ships and stashing of escape pods in freighters you can do before your fleet is just a big metal corral full of targets. Before too long, the remnants would be shooting fish in a barrel, and when it's vacuum outside the barrel, you really needn't trouble yourself shooting all the fish. For Ryman and company inside the relatively weak Gargantua, things weren't feeling so good. The Gargantua was the size of a cruiser, yet was actually a repurposed civilian model with a deliberately bright demidar signal, a result of contemporaneous health and safety regulation in the mining industry, a true sign of its age. Ryman, lying on the floor between his chair and the main screen, remembered touching the captain's chair for the first time. He never did find out how the previous owner had died. That day was about 1.5 cycles ago, he thought, yet it was 10 cycles ago by common calendar, to say nothing of whatever had happened in the timeline in the last 30 minutes or so. How much longer? Ryman asked to the ceiling above him. Enrico leaned over him with Nafi in his hands, i.e. in Contreras' hands.
The outer sector ships will not arrive for 10 minutes, and their abilities are unknown. We are going to evacuate the back lines. For those of us left here, there shall be no more rescue. This will cause my predicted outcome of the battle to shift from defeat to unknown. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that helps. Will the freighters make it out?
Not very far, but we can always hope for a surprisingly peaceful outcome. That is our way here at the IEC and such, is it not?
Is it not? Ryman echoed, returning his attention to the ceiling. To further complicate matters, Ra suddenly had something to say that wasn't completely out of line. Report is that we're out of water, he said. How do you know that? Allison shot back accusatively. I'm the logistics officer, got it on my computer, Ra said, holding up a tripod. I forgot he actually works here, Mars mumbled. No water. Well, good thing I already poured myself a wine.
This ship requires water for all of its functionalities, including moving and shielding,
Contreras, the real one, said from the captain's chair.
The ship will explode from the heat flux if the shield takes a hit with no coolant left. This is a critical emergency. Prepare to abandon—
Wait, Ra cut in. There's a way. We have coolant stored, don't we? Remember, Miss Contreras? You've been down there. You've seen it. I know the boys have seen it. Contreras' eyes glazed over as a memory she had grown to regret played out. Thor and Wens leapt to their feet when Ra explained the deal. Ah, you need that service, Thor said. All right, we're ready to lead the flock once again. Come on, brother, let's get the juices flowing. Into the burning darkness once again, Wens declared, and the pair ran off to the lower decks. What are they doing then? Ryman casually inquired.
They may allow us to maintain our position in the formation for a while longer,
Contreras said carefully. Pissing in the coolant tanks, Titanian added, swiping Mars's wine and downing it in one, then passing the bottle on to his attachés. Ah, good, Ryman said with a wholesome smile. The lower decks quickly, and with stunning efficiency, suggesting long-held plans, became a foundry of bodily secretions, the likes of which had not been seen since Contreras was single and paying good money to mingle back in the good old days. Must have been at least a hyper week. Indeed, the Gargantua was storing a large amount of coolant fluid within the meaty sacks of skin that were on occasion referred to as crew. Hundreds of them, and hundreds more displaced fleet refugees currently aboard, were pressed into this glorious service, aided by a well-organised bucket chain and makeshift funnel in the engineering room. Undoubtedly, it smelled like victory. Sure enough, when a bolt of plasma flew the Gargantua's way, the flux shield whirred up, the energy of the attack was absorbed, and a rainbow plume of ejected, superheated coolant fluid fizzed out of the ship's belly, shimmering in the light of Zeta Nova Cydonia as a beacon of human ingenuity, will, and degeneracy.
Reaching our goal line now,
the old chap soon announced.
Superb,
Enrico replied.
Commence on the provided courses immediately, and while I understand your wish to take them alive, this is a critical situation, so use all—
Boom. The flux shield boiled away into a colourless gas. The bridge jolted upwards and pressed everyone to the floor. The lights cut out, leaving only an all-encompassing metallic ringing and accompanying vibrations. Even before anyone said anything, they could all feel gravity fading away.
Space packs for the humans,
Enrico said. Ryman felt someone drag him aside and hook something over his back. Report! Report! Titanian was saying, yet no report was coming in.
Computer's gone. Sorry,
Allison said from the ceiling above him. That was the engine, sure of it. Heard that in the Sims over and over, Ra said. The boys. Everyone. No sense drawing conclusions, Mars said from the corner. Can we check the oxygen levels?
Your space pack will keep you oxygenated, Contreras said. You said as much in your weekly drill every week, remember?
Oh, right. It was more of a figure of speech than a real chance of working, I always thought. Are we basically dead now? Anyone? I can still hear you, Mr. Nessus, so I'm not in my eternal paradise quite yet, Ryman said from Contreras' arms. We took a serious hit, didn't we?
Yes, Contreras said.
Is everyone all right?
No.
Silly question, really. Is anyone in range? Let's try. Ryman accessed his spacepack's communicator. There were fluctuating lists of millions, then billions, then trillions of receivers to connect to. The remnants were emitting jamming signals that small devices weren't able to filter out. Nafi, we need you, Ryman said.
I know. There is no hope of rescue,
Nafi said. Right, thanks, Nafi. Just what I needed.
If you plug me into the bridge circuits, you can use my battery to get the lights
There was a rapid series of thuds and a whoosh. The ceiling of the bridge was gone. The fiery light show of battle raged as far as the eye cared to see. All sound rushed away with the last of the ambient air, and with it, the bridge crew were thrown into the abyss.